Welcome to Today Matters. My name is Paul Risher, and I'm one of the pastors here at Skyline Church. Let me begin by asking you a couple of questions. What motivates you? Why do you do the things that you do? You know, a couple of weeks ago, as I was having my devotions in 1 Thessalonians, the answer to those questions emerged. And so today, I want to share with you some thoughts and reflections from what I had read. 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 4 says this, "Our purpose is to please God, not people. He alone examines the motives of our hearts." Take a moment and just underline, our purpose is to please God, not people. And then 2 chapters over in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 1, it says this, "Finally, dear brothers and sisters, we urge you in the name of the Lord Jesus to live in a way that pleases God, as we have taught you. You are doing this already, and we encourage you to do so more and more." Underline, to live in a way that pleases God. Our lives should be lived in such a way that pleases God, not man. And then I also remembered the verse, again written by the Apostle Paul, that has kept me focused and on track in my personal life, my family life, and ministry. A verse that I highlighted in my Bible back in 1971 when I first started in the ministry. Turn to Galatians chapter 1, verse 10, which says this, "Obviously, I'm not trying to be a people pleaser. No, I am trying to please God. If I were still trying to please people, I would not be Christ's servant." You know, the Apostle Paul is addressing a battle that we all face. The battle is wanting people to accept us, to like us. Let's face it, everyone wants to be liked. Have you ever found yourself obsessing over what some people could be thinking about you? Or stuck on that time when your friend or family member made a negative comment? Sure, we all have. Why try hard to gain approval from our peers and others? However, it's the gaining of approval and getting people to really like you and be pleased with you that you might have a compromise and give up a part of you and what you stand for. You know, the worst compromise you or I can make is the one of spiritual dimensions. That's what Paul is really addressing here in Galatians chapter 1. Many people in the church at Galatia had turned to other religious views. They had become tolerant. They had turned their back on the gospel that Paul had preached to them. It reminds me of that coexist sticker that you see. All religions, all roads, pathways lead to God. Let's accept them all. Not. The Apostle Paul lets them know that he is wanting to please God in his life and not man. If man, he would have chucked religion. We're living in a day and age where we need to stand boldly for God and for his truth. This really is an important time to evaluate and re-examine our lives and to ask questions. Do I seek relationships that gain me man's approval? Do I do ministry to gain the approval of people? Am I motivated more by other people's opinions about me, or am I concerned with what God has to say? You might be thinking, what do you mean? How do I please man? How do I get man's approval? Let me just share 2 prevalent ways. One, by always agreeing with others, by going along with what they say and do. Even though you might have a different view or opinion, you keep it to yourself. You don't rock the boat. Second way is when you're with unbelievers in the crowd. There's never any mention of God, and if God is mentioned in a negative way, you don't speak up because you now believe it's better to be an undercover agent for God, to be in his secret service. This might get you man's approval, but it doesn't get you God's. My goal in life is to be obedient and to please God. I already have his approval since I accepted Jesus into my life. I can do nothing else to gain God's greater approval. I can, however, do more to please God. What can I do to please God? Colossians 3:23 in the Amplified Version has the answer. Whatever you are doing, whatever your task is, at work, in your family, in your wife, your kids, at church, in recreation, work at it with all your heart, putting in your very best effort as something done for the Lord and not for people. You know, that's the key. Whatever we do, no matter what it is, do it as something done for God, to please Him. When you're reading the Bible, involved in small group or Bible study, attending church, online for now, praying, all these activities blesses and pleases the heart of God. And just as a child does things to please his parents, we need to do things that will please God. If I did life the way my friends wanted and did life contrary to what my parents wanted, my parents would have been displeased and disappointed. Yeah. So it is in the life of a follower of Jesus. If we do anything and everything to please people and in the process displease God, then we've truly missed the mark. Our Risher household motto has been, if you please God, it doesn't matter who you displease. If you displease God, it doesn't matter who you please. Live your life to the best of your ability to be a God pleaser. Allow God to be the main influencer in your aspect of every part of your life, not anything or anyone else. When you live your life to please God, your other relationships, your life will fall into place because you're doing it His way and you will receive His blessings. 2 Corinthians 9:8 says this, and God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Our goal in life should be living to please God, for today matters.